Today's podcast episode is sponsored by TherapyNotes, TherapyNotes.com. And if you'll go over and check them out, they are the #1 electronic health record system for counselors and therapists. They will provide everything you need to make your practice run smoothly and efficiently. And go check them out, TherapyNotes.com. And if you'll use the coupon code Gordon, just GORDON, you can get your first 2 months free. TherapyNotes.com. This is the Practice of Therapy podcast with Gordon Brewer, helping you to navigate your private practice journey. This is session number 111 of the Practice of Therapy podcast. Hello, folks. I'm Gordon Brewer. Glad you've joined me for the podcast. If this is your first time listening in, welcome. Glad you found us. And I hope you'll subscribe to the podcast wherever you might be listening to it. If you're coming back for more and have been listening to previous episodes, glad you're here, glad you're back. And I'm so glad that you're listening in every week for the podcast. I really enjoy doing this, and it's really here to help you in your practice journey and being able to figure out the best way for you to do it for you. And so that's what this is all about. This is what the purpose of the podcast is to give you the resources and ideas and help you might need in doing private practice as either a counselor, therapist, or any social worker, or any really other helping field. I know I've got people that are massage therapists, also nutritionists, all of those kinds of things that listen in to the podcast. So glad you're here. So it's been an interesting week, this first full week of January as I'm recording this. One exciting thing that happened for us as a family is we got 2 new kittens. So it's quite the show at our house with those 2 little kittens just romping through the house. And we had been debating whether or not to get another pet. Our last cat that we had, Oreo, she passed away about a year ago, September. And so we said, we're going to take a break from pets. And my wife says, I'm really missing having the pets. So we went to our local, there's a kitten rescue here in town, and we hooked up with them and went and picked out 2 little kittens. One's name is Cassie and the other one's name is Sophie. So, might be sharing more of their antics with you as we move along throughout the year. In this particular episode, it's an interesting thing. That was the fun thing for this week, was the getting the kittens. But the not so fun thing is that on Sunday night, my computer crashed. I was so frantic. There was a Windows update that was an automatic update, and once it updated, I couldn't access my desktop. So needless to say, it was frustrating. Unfortunately, I was able to recover a good part of the stuff, but there was a lot of stuff that I lost. But fortunately, the important stuff was backed up. But one important thing that wasn't backed up was the episode I had planned for this which this is episode 111. I had originally going to have Emily and Ryan Russ join me for the podcast, and was looking forward for you to be able to hear from them. Fortunately, they have graciously going to let me re-record them. So we'll do that later this month, and looking forward for you to hear from them. So I had to switch gears. And so this particular episode, I want to talk with you about some different ways to maybe think about diversifying your income in your practice. I get a lot of questions about that, and people are really curious about that. And so I want to share with you some of the top ways that I know about for you to do that, and really even looking at creating income for your practice that's outside of just seeing clients, or even income from your from your clients directly. So we'll talk some more about that. One other thing real quickly before we get to that, do have another webinar coming up, free webinar, and it's going to be on January 17th, depending on when you're listening to this. And even after this, it will still be available for a short while. If you'll just go to the website and go to practiceoftherapy.com/start2020. And this particular webinar, I'm just going to be talking about ways for you to be financially successful in 2020. The title of the webinar is How to Be Financially Successful for 2020, Preparing Your Private Practice for a Financially Successful Year. And in this webinar, I'm just going to be talking with folks about and teaching folks about some of the things you need to be concerned about or things you need to be thinking about in order to be profitable in your private practice. And really sharing with you some of the things that I have found over the years through my own practice, and also just what I've learned from others, in particular my friend Julie Harris over at Green Oak Accounting, just about some of the ins and outs about thinking about how you arrange the financial side of your private practice. So I really would love for you to join me for that. It's going to be, again, January the 17th at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. That's a Friday, depending on when you're listening to this. And even if you aren't able to be there on that date, or if you might be hearing this afterwards, do go and sign up for that webinar anyway, and you'll get access to the replay of it. So I want to invite you to do that. Again, it's practiceoftherapy.com/start2020 is the landing page for that, and you can sign up and join me for that. As this podcast is this episode's coming out, this episode's coming out on January the 13th. So it's on Monday. It's when my podcast usually comes out. But anyway, just love for you to have me join me for that. So let's switch gears here and let's talk about how to diversify your income, or ways to diversify your income in your private practice. The work you do as a therapist is important, and your private practice deserves the best website possible to allow you to see more clients. As the industry-leading company that makes marketing simple for therapists, Brighter Vision understands exactly what it takes to help your practice grow to new heights this year. Brighter Vision's team of developers will work with you to first understand your business and what makes it unique, then use this information to build you a website centered around attracting and retaining your ideal client. Best yet, there's never been a more affordable time to get the website your practice deserves. During the entire month of January, Brighter Vision is running its biggest sale of the year. Until the end of the month, pay no setup fees and get your entire first year for just $49 a month. That's a savings of over $200 your first year with Brighter Vision. To take advantage of this offer, simply go to brightervision.com/Gordon. Again, that's brightervision.com/Gordon. As therapists and counselors and social workers and psychologists, and most of us in this particular field, most of our time is spent in seeing clients, and really the bread and butter of what we do in terms of the primary income generator for most of us is just being able to do the one-to-one interaction with clients. In other words, we trade our time for our time and expertise for money. And so clients come in, they see us, we have a session with us, and they pay us for that. And that's the primary income generator for private practices. And I'm not saying that we should get away from that, but there are lots of other ways you can generate other income for your practice. So I want to talk with you about those different ways. And I've really identified 9 different ways that you can do that. And so I want to go through each one of those with you and introduce those to you. And we'll have some links in the show notes here for some different ways of accessing some of the tools that you can use in generating income outside your practice. And just full disclosure, some of these links that we have are affiliate links. So that means I receive a small commission, if you use that link to purchase that platform or that sort of thing. So anyway, I just wanted to make you aware of that. And again, just to be transparent about all of that. So let's jump into this. So the first way that I think about that we can, and I'm kind of going to go in order of just kind of more directly practice related to probably less practice related, as ways of generating income, other income for yourself. You know, the idea behind diversifying income is that you move away from the idea of just trading your time and expertise for money, because that requires you to be there. It requires you to be the one-to-one kind of way of doing things. And I think, again, I'm not knocking that. And I think I see clients, and so I depend on that income, and it's still one of the primary ways in which I get income in my practice is through that. But as one of the things about that is to think about the time that you spend in doing that. So if you're seeing an individual client, you're devoting your time to 1 hour or 50 minutes or however long your sessions are to that particular client. So it's the one-to-one kind of thing. Kind of the next step up from that is really thinking about starting groups. So instead of trading your time one-to-one, you're trading your time one-to-many. So one of the ways to diversify your income and actually increase your return on investment of your time is to do groups. And so you would charge the people in your group. You would have more, depending on what size group you want to have. Most groups are anywhere from 4 to 6 people. Sometimes they're dyads, but usually a group is probably at least 3 people in my mind, is to have groups around a particular topic or particular niche. And in that way, you're maximizing the amount of money that you're getting for your time spent. So thinking about group practices, or not group practices, but holding groups within your practice, therapy groups, counseling groups. So that's one way of diversifying your income. And most of us are aware of that. We all had probably courses in graduate school on conducting groups and having group counseling sessions. The next way that I think about in terms of growing your practice and really thinking about kind of the next level up in terms of creating more income for your practice is to start a group practice, or maybe partnering with someone that you create a small group. And so in that particular scenario, of course, you are reaping the benefit of what they do. So in other words, the people in my group practice, for my practice, of course, I keep a portion of what is collected from clients, and that goes to cover the overhead of keeping them in a building and being able to have a place for them to practice. But also it builds in, there's a profit margin there as well for me in my practice. So one of the things for me in looking at my plans over the next 5 years is to really move from me not seeing as many clients and really pushing those clients out to the people in my group. And so I'm getting the income from what they produce. So that's in those first two scenarios, either having starting groups, counseling groups, therapy groups, and then going the next level would be a group practice where you bring other people on. Those are ways, really, when you move from trading your time and your expertise with clients to having a group practice, you're really moving into the realm of what we refer to as passive income. In other words, you're getting income from stuff that you don't have to put your time into. So these next several things that I'm going to be talking about are really around, with the exception of one, which is the consulting and coaching, is really moving into the realm of passive income. So the next one that I'd like to mention to you is something that is called affiliate marketing. And so the concept around that, and I use quite a bit of that with the practice of therapy, is that you find products and services that other people are producing, that when you offer that product or service, you get a commission from that. And so as I mentioned earlier, with the links here, a lot of those links that I'm going to share with you in the show notes are affiliate links. So if you were to purchase from that, I would get a commission from that. So there's lots of different companies that offer that. The biggest one being Amazon. And one of the things that I would encourage you to do, and this is a good way to kind of dip your toe into diversifying your income, is to sign up for an Amazon associate account. And through that, you can offer anything that Amazon has to offer on your website, and you put on your website links to those different products. It might be books that you like to recommend to your clients, or it might be products that you use that you like to recommend to clients. So for example, one that comes to mind for me is the Full Focus Planner that I recommend. Whenever you go to my website and I offer that to people, I've got a link to Amazon. And so Amazon, people go and purchase it from Amazon, and then I get a small commission from that. So that is what affiliate marketing is. And then there's lots of different other ones that are out there where you can sign up for their affiliate program. I have my email service that I use, Aweber. I have an affiliate agreement with them. Another one is Teachable, and I'm going to talk some more about that because that's a pretty exciting platform. Teachable, which is the platform I use for my courses like Money Matters in Private Practice and G Suite for Therapists. All of those things are done through a platform called Teachable. So if somebody is interested in Teachable, they can use that affiliate link that I give to them and sign up for that. And then other affiliate agreements that I have are just with different advertisers and products and services that I trust and recommend, like Brighter Vision. And by the way, they're having a huge sale right now, so be sure and check them out. But I'll talk about that. You've heard me talk about that in the podcast in the sponsorships. So anyway, that's affiliate marketing. And again, one resource that I'll really would like to recommend to you around affiliate marketing, and he's really one of the best gurus in this, and that is Pat Flynn. And he has a podcast called Smart Passive Income. And so if you want to learn more about affiliate marketing, go over and check out Pat Flynn at Smart Passive Income. He's got tons of resources there. So the next one that I wanted to mention to you are just being able to sell products and services. Products on your website. So like digital products. So, for example, I've got my paperwork packet that I offer, but there are a lot of other things that you might have available that you might want to share with folks, and be able to sell those. So, for example, there are a lot of therapists that have created handouts and worksheets for clients that they would like to share with other therapists, but you could also create some income from that. So I'll tell you about two ways that you can get started with that. One would be to check out Practicat, and that my friend Katie Englert over at Practicat has set up a whole platform for therapists and counselors to be able to sell their resources through their platform. And that's a great way to get your feet wet in that. And so check them out, and just go to practicat.com. Again, there'll be links to that in the show notes. Another platform that is there available, it takes a little more sophistication, but it's one that I use, and it's called Gumroad. And again, I'll have links to that, and it's a platform where you can actually sell your digital products. So if you've got handouts, you've got maybe even an ebook, and we'll talk about that in a minute, of being able to put those on that platform to sell to people. And with that platform, you get, they take a percentage of what you sell, but it can be a fairly lucrative way to create some secondary income or diversify your income. And so a fifth way for you to create some additional income or diversify your income are through online courses. Now, as I mentioned already, the platform I use for my online courses is Teachable, and there'll be a link in the show notes for you to be able to get to the Teachable platform. But the wonderful thing about courses is there's probably lots of stuff that you are knowledgeable about. And it doesn't necessarily have to be courses for other therapists, but it can also be courses that you might want to offer to your client. So here's an idea for you. If you do a lot of anger management counseling and therapy, think about putting that into a course format and then being able to offer that to your clients, or maybe parenting classes, or those kinds of things are all things that we offer, or we think about giving our client, or services that we tend to offer our clients, helping parents with at-risk adolescents, all those kinds of things. If you've got some ideas about that and knowledgeable about that, you could create a whole online course that you could offer people. And believe me, if you set that up correctly, that can create a great deal of income for you in terms of promoting that on your website and through social media. That can bring in a great second way of creating income for yourself. And kind of related to that, in terms of sharing your knowledge and expertise with people, is to consider writing an ebook or writing a book. One of the things that I think just gives us a lot of clout is when we can write a book. And it doesn't have to be, a huge thing. One of the things that, of course, that you all know about from me is that I offer a private practice startup guide. And the thing about that is that when people sign up to get that, I do that in exchange for their email address. And so I've created an email list, and it's a way in which I market to people through an email listing. As I mentioned, I have Aweber is the service I use. Again, I'll have a link to Aweber. But the one thing about an ebook is that it really gets your name out there and establishes really some expertise in different areas. So with an ebook, it could be used as what is referred to as a lead magnet, which is kind of what I do with this here at the Practice of Therapy. And I know all of these terms sound really salesy, but the feedback I get around my ebook on the Private Practice Startup Guide is that it's really helpful information. And that's the whole purpose there, is that I want it to be helpful. I want people to be able to have that information to get them started. But also I do that in exchange for their email address. And so then with the Practice of Therapy, as you know, if you've subscribed to my email list, you get an email from me once a week, and it's just talking about the podcast episode and then just different products and services that I have available. And so that's a way that generates secondary income for me in my practice. And so that's why I have that out there. The thing about all of this, and I'm going to get off on a tangent here, is just make sure it's quality stuff. I mean, don't do it just for the sake of trying to get people to spend money with you. If you purchase from me, I'm very grateful that you do that, but I'm not in it to try to, schmooze you into getting something that's not helpful to you. If it's not helpful to you, don't get it. And I would say, even if you subscribe to my email list and it's not helpful to you, unsubscribe. I'd much rather you not be bombarded with emails that are not wanted. So also with the email marketing, and this is kind of ties in with the ebook to some degree, is that with that particular service, Aweber, I'm able to automate things. And so when somebody subscribes to the email list, they also get an automated sequence from me. And so they get an email from me just asking if you got the startup guide the next day. And then every week after that, there's just some content there that is really more kind of, to some degree, premium content, just helpful things for people in that sequence. So hopefully, and the purpose of that is just to help people engage with you and get to know you and that sort of thing. So anyway, didn't mean to get off on that tangent, but that's kind of how email marketing works, is that I'm getting an audience of people that are interested in what I have to offer. And so then I am able to stay in contact with them through email. So I mentioned the ebook, of being able to write an ebook. The other thing about an ebook is to be able to, you can actually sell it on Amazon. Again, there's a way to go into Amazon, and if you'll, you can just Google that to learn how to publish an ebook on Amazon, and there's no cost for publishing it. Amazon keeps their cut when they put it on their website through Amazon.com, and they'll usually offer it as a Kindle book or an electronic book. And so it's a great way to think about diversifying your income by sharing your knowledge and your expertise with things through an ebook. So the other thing that I would mention here in terms of being able to create other streams of income is to think about maybe having some public or live events. One way to do that is if you've got some expertise and want to offer some continuing education events, you could do that. And one resource that I'm going to share with you here is my friend Dr. David Hall over at Psych Maven, and that's just psychmaven.com. He's got a whole course on how to do that, how to hold a continuing education event, and kind of the A to C, or as he liked to call it, the soup to nuts knowledge on how to set up a continuing education event and set it up so that you can get it credentialed to offer continuing education credit. So if there's an area that you feel like would be helpful to other therapists, that is a great way to create secondary income or diversify your income, is by offering continuing education events. Another way too around all of that is that, again, if you have an area of expertise that you feel like you could teach to other therapists, is to start looking at some of these companies that offer continuing education. So like is it PESI is one, Cross Country Education, or several, but there's several organizations that we're all aware of that offer continuing education credits, and they do that both online and also as live events. So that is another great way to think about diversifying your income, is by offering those things. Another way to diversify your income is to think about starting a podcast or a YouTube channel. One of the ways, and people are really curious about that, okay, how do you make money doing those things? And so one way, like with podcasts, which is one of the ways in which I've diversified my income, is with the podcast, it has grown to the point now to where advertisers are really interested in it, in that they know that they've got a platform here where people are listening in, and we offer that. So, for example, TherapyNotes is one of the sponsors of the podcast, and so they pay to be on the podcast. And the thing about that is, again, the way I have done it is I'm not just going to take any old advertiser. I want it to be somebody that I know is relevant to what we do as counselors and therapists, and also someone that I trust and I know that they're offering a good product and service. So TherapyNotes is, again, who I use in my practice, and so I can absolutely speak firsthand that I know that it's a quality service, a quality product, and so you can check them out at therapynotes.com. Okay, another little quick plug for them. So with podcasting and then also with YouTube, the way that people generally get income from those platforms is through advertisers that want to pay you for advertising on your show or on your channel. Within YouTube, there is a way for you to go and sign up for that within YouTube. I have not done that on my YouTube channel, which really my YouTube channel is where I house different tutorials and webinars and that sort of thing. But I've not really explored that. I probably should, because I might be leaving some low-hanging fruit to be able to get some extra income from that. So need to probably check that out. But anyway, so podcasting, which is what I'm doing here, obviously, is one way that you can create other streams of income for your practice through advertisers, and also just by being able to promote things like I do, like my Session Note Helper and the G Suite course and the Money Matters course I promote on here, and so people find out about that through the podcast, and say they sign up for those courses, and it produces income. So then I think, I think I'm down to, our final one, and that is thinking about moving into consulting and coaching, which that brings us full circle back to the one-to-one or face-to-face kind of ways of creating income for yourself. One of the things about this is, if you've been in practice for a while and you feel like you've got some skills that are maybe business related, or even things that you would want to share with people outside of our industry, think about going into consulting. And what you can do is you can just offer yourself as a consultant, and people pay you a fee in order for you to consult with them. And the good thing about that particular thing is that consulting is generally, you can charge a higher fee for that, because it's an expertise and it's more kind of a business to business way of sharing things. So typically my consulting is 2 to 3 times higher what I charge for that than what I charge for my regular counseling sessions. Again, with the counseling sessions and therapy sessions, those are much more long-term commitment in terms of people coming to you and repeat things. And then also, as I've shared before, I do offer in my practice, I'm on several insurance panels. So we use kind of an insurance model in my practice. And so I'm kind of locked in there, which is a downside, but I also get the volume from that. And the reason that I decided to be on insurance panels is just really because of the demographics of my area. So that's a total tangent there. Sorry about that. So being able to offer consulting and coaching services through your as kind of a sideline for your practice is another great way to create income for yourself. So just a quick review here of what I've covered so far. So one way of thinking about creating, diversifying your income would be to start holding groups within your practice. So therapy groups, counseling groups. That way you're trading you're getting more bang for your buck with your time. The second would be to move into the realm of passive income. And so the first way that I think of is to create a group practice where you bring on other therapists either as 1099 contractors or as employees, as W-2 employees, to join your practice, and you get income from what they produce. The third thing was affiliate marketing. In other words, creating affiliate relationships with different people that offer products and services where you get a commission for selling their products or services. Again, lots of different ways to do that. The big one being Amazon, and joining and signing up for an Amazon associate program. Let's see. Number 4 was to be able to sell your own products. And I'm thinking of digital products like paperwork packets, handouts, spreadsheets, those kinds of things. And again, the way a good starting place for that is with my friend Katie Englert over at Practicat. Number 5 was to create a course and offer your knowledge through online courses. And again, the platform that I recommend for that is Teachable. And again, there'll be a link in the show notes for that. So thinking about either offering courses to other therapists, but also the general public and people that in courses around things within your own niche. Okay, number 6 was to create an ebook that you would either sell or offer as a lead magnet in your practice for people to, in exchange for signing up for your email list, which your email list is really a vehicle for reaching more folks and being able to offer your products and services through that. So, but also creating an ebook that is something that is helpful to people and that is really offers a lot of value to people. And so creating an ebook and then either selling it on Amazon as a Kindle book or just giving it away. So that's a way of kind of creating secondary income is through an ebook. Let's see, number 7 was podcasting and YouTube, to be able to start offering content on those platforms and then being able to have sponsors of your particular program. And again, that's a way that I produce secondary income is through podcast sponsorships. It also helps me justify doing the podcast every week through the sponsorships. It pays for it. It helps me cover the cost of producing the podcast because there is some cost involved in doing a podcast. I've got to have a server for that I pay for, also paying my virtual assistant, Rachel, and being able for her to do all of that. And then number 8 was having public events and offering continuing education, either live events or just offering public events through that you offer to the public that you can charge for. That's another way of creating income for yourself. And then finally was consulting and coaching, which is full circle back to the one-to-one kind of way of getting income for yourself. And you can do that through either one-to-one coaching and consulting with other therapists or other people in business, or by offering mastermind groups, which again is another way that I've generated income for me in my practice, is to be able to have groups of people to come together. And we do all of that online using the Zoom platform, and being able to have meet with folks a couple of times a month and talk about the business side of private practice. So, boy, that was a lot more than I thought it would be. So anyway, hopefully this has been helpful information for you in this particular episode. Well, folks, I hope that was a helpful episode for you. It was a lot more than I thought about. When I started recording it, I realized this is a little bit longer episode, which is okay. And hopefully this is helpful information and gives you some things to think about and ways to maybe diversifying your income throughout the year. You know, if you have questions about any of this, feel free to reach out to me. You can always email me at Gordon@practiceoftherapy.com. and I'm happy to try to respond to your emails in a timely way. Love hearing from people and love getting people's questions. Do be sure and check out today's sponsors for the podcast, TherapyNotes.com. As I mentioned to you, they are the electronic health record system that I use, and it is the full package with them. And I couldn't live without them in my practice. It not only files the claims for us, but also sends appointment reminders, has a way to store client records that are HIPAA secure, and it's just it's also got a client portal that I absolutely love, and that people are able to contact us through the client portal or request appointments. So check them out. If you'll go to therapynotes.com/Gordon, and then also be sure to check out Brighter Vision, brightervision.com. They are the leaders in helping you brand your practice through your website, and also through helping you with that all-important SEO. And right now they've got a huge sale going on here in January, so take advantage of that. So you can find them at brightervision.com/Gordon. And be sure and let them know that you talked to me and learned about them from the podcast. So go ahead and check them out, brightervision.com/Gordon. Well, folks, hope you have a good rest of your week or weekend whenever you're listening to this. And thanks again for joining the podcast, and be sure to subscribe wherever you might be listening to it. So take care, folks. We'll be talking with you next week. Been listening to the Practice of Therapy podcast with Gordon Brewer. Please visit us at practiceoftherapy.com for more information, resources, and tools to help you in starting, building, and growing your private practice. And if you haven't done so already, please sign up to receive the free private practice startup guide at practiceoftherapy.com. The information in this podcast is intended to be accurate and authoritative concerning the subject matter covered. It is given with the understanding that neither the hosts, guests, or producers are rendering legal, accounting, or clinical advice. If you need a professional, you should find the right person for that.